welcome to Unity of Music City. We want to say, first of all, we have our wonderful Vic Sorrel is in the house. My mind was on something else. Please forgive me, Vic. Your lesson was so wonderful last week. I'm so looking forward to hearing you speak this week. Thank you. Let's everyone stand and join us in our first song. We are one with God and one with each other. Everyone we meet is our sister and brother. You be you and I'll be me. We're all members of one family. Live in harmony, harmony. We are a part of all that we see. Live in harmony, harmony. We can be different and still live in harmony. We are one with God and one with each other. Everyone we meet is our sister and brother. You be you and I'll be me. We're all members of one family. Live in harmony, harmony. We are a part of all that we see. Harmony, harmony. We can be different and still live in harmony. We can be different and still live in harmony. We can be different and still live in harmony.
Good morning. And now for our morning announcements. We wanted to be sure to let everybody know that Unity of Music City is open for our Sunday morning celebration service. We are practicing social distancing and masks are required. The Namaste Cafe and children's programs are not available this time, so please plan accordingly. Please join us when you are ready or continue to enjoy our live stream via Facebook or YouTube. The prayer chaplains are available for your prayers. If you have a prayer or concern that you would like the chaplains to be made aware of, you can email that prayer request to uofmcprayerrequests@gmail.com. Again, that email address is uofmcprayerrequests@gmail.com. Any and all prayer requests are welcome. For those of you that are in the sanctuary, the prayer request boxes are still available at the head of the sanctuary and in the lobby. Wednesday mornings at 11:30, Lunch Bunch is available via Zoom. They are reading the book Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. Please contact Karen Burr for more information. Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m., the adult education class, Are We Our Brother and Sister's Keeper, is available via Zoom. Zoom information is in the weekly email. Please contact Margie. It's facilitated by Margie Hart, Brian Gill, and Frank Castellano. Ryan, would you like to say anything about the class? Could you share anything about this? Because it sounds like you guys have been having a really great time with this, because it sounds like Tuesday was really amazing.
We
had a great turnout, and
what we're trying to do is pose questions to get us thinking in the direction of what our relationship to our neighbors is and how to make it better.
all right. So it sounds amazing, and it sounds like what we really need right now. So I invite all of you guys to attend this class, and Margie and Frank have done an amazing job with this group, so please come and attend, and we would love to see you on the Zoom. Sunday, October 25th, is the writers group via Zoom, along with Laura McClendon and that group, so please join them and get some creative juices flowing. And most importantly, if Benita would like to join me, this is really, really important. We've got some really important decisions to make with the church, and with some really strong words from our Judy Blackwelder, it's me who is in the need of prayer. Your church is in need of prayer right now, and we're going to be having a town hall to discuss this. The town hall is going to be available via Zoom, but we would really, really like to have you in the sanctuary for this. Financial matters, of course, are what's really at heart, but we need your seats in the seat, because without you, we can't make all of this happen. And again, it's me who's in need of prayer. It's we who's in need of prayer. It's the church who is in need of prayer. And it's not just your finances that we need, but we also need your souls in this church. And I'd also like for Benita to kind of share her feelings on this, because we really, really need your attendance at this meeting. It will be after church on Sunday, November the 8th. And Benita, I would also like for you to share your feelings on this.
We want to hear from you. We want to hear what you want to do here as a part of this community. We know it's been a really tough year. We know everybody's experiencing a lot of different things this year. But the Leadership Council really wants to hear what the members want. And we think that's really important right now. So we encourage you to attend either via Zoom or in person. Again, that's November 8th after the service. Thank you.
And I believe that's all that we have for you this morning. So Unity 4 and Ryan Gill, if you guys would love to entertain us further. Thank you.
It is up to all of us to show what we're all about, to share the love that's in our hearts, the love that never runs out. Scatter the joy and spread the word, be a star shining bright. Fan the flame of life within you and shine your light. I'm gonna shine, shine, shine. I'm gonna shine, shine, shine. Glowing from an infinite spark, I am divine. I'm gonna shine, shine, shine. I'm gonna shine, shine, shine. Walking in the Spirit, I'm doing fine, fine, fine. It is up to all of us to show what we're all about, to share the love that's in our heart, the love that never runs out. Scatter the joy and spread the word, be a star shining bright. Fan the flame of life within you and shine your light. I'm gonna shine, shine, shine. I'm gonna shine, shine, shine. Glowing from an infinite spark, I am divine. I'm gonna shine, shine, shine. I'm gonna shine, shine, shine. Glowing in the Spirit, I'm doing fine, fine, fine. Walking in the Spirit, I'm doing fine, fine, fine.
We'd all like to take a little reset breath at this time. Nice inhale. This morning's daily word is steadfast. Your affirmation is, I am a steadfast spiritual seeker. Again, I am a steadfast spiritual seeker. No matter where I may be on my path, sometimes my spiritual life feels easy and sometimes it feels hard. There are times I enjoy new insights, blissful clarity, and peace. Other times I may struggle, feeling stuck and directionless, or even lonely on my walk with God. At times like these, I renew my commitment to my spiritual path. Although my attention may have wandered, the divine presence within me has always retained steadfast, as near as my next thought. Wherever I am in space, time, or consciousness, I discover the love, strength, and wisdom of God expressing through me.
Good to see everybody. I think in this time of opportunity, we know that new thoughts mean new life. And so in this sacred time of silence that we have together today, we surrender every thought that we've had to this point about this ministry. We surrender every thought that we've had to this point about ourselves. We are steadfast spiritual seekers, seeking clarity in this new download in the form of new thoughts. see it from a refracted perspective. That is this ministry in a way you may have never seen before. We give thanks for our nature. For our nature is love. Our nature is wisdom. His grace. His mercies. Witness to me, New life begins. New life begins. New life. So,
There is just one presence and just one power in all the world. There is just one presence and just one power in my life. There is just one presence and just one power. God is with us each and every hour. There is just one presence and just one power in my life. There is just one presence and just one power in all the world. There is just one presence and just one power in my life. There is just one presence and just one power. God is with us each and every hour. There is just one presence and just one power in my life. There is just one presence and just one power in my life.
Here, you want to swap to yellow? Let's swap.
we're going to swap to yellow. All right. So, good morning. And we are in Mercury retrograde, but also for those of you who have watched the show called Pose on FX, I don't know if any of you have. Today, the category is actually Libra New Moon Realness, because we did have our Libra New Moon in Libra on Friday. For those of you who follow astrology and the stars, then you already knew that. But today we're going to talk about clarity and why clarity is so very important, not only in times like these, Barbara Mandrell, for those of you who remember that song, but also in a new moon. why our clarity around what we intend to manifest and who we intend to be is critical. It's critical because the energies are heightened, and the powers, the support for manifestation and sustainment are heightened. So it's really important. I'm trying to advance the slide, but again, like the mic, interestingly enough, it don't wanna. Yep. Tuned in, tapped in, turned on. Oh, there we go. Thank you. So a few things that found me this week in social media that I want to share. And Brian Andreas, you'll see in the next image, you'll recognize his work. But there is no moment I'd rather be in than here with you making a world. Because that's what we're doing. We are literally making this world with every breath, with every thought. And the more of us that are holding a vision of a world that works for all, then the more likely we are to create that world, because we don't need everybody. We need a critical mass. We know this, right? We just need a critical mass. So there is no place I would rather be than here talking about what is ours to do in order to create this world that we want to share together. Next slide, please. So you may recognize Brian Andreas' work now. Now is a very good time to imagine who you want to be and to be clear about what is true about you and for you, and what has been uniquely downloaded into you, or what is waiting to get past your thought barriers to be downloaded into you, that is your unique contribution. Next slide. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Wow. Things don't just happen. We have a part in that. But things are changing so fast and moving so fast that it's so often common to think, where do I even fit in all this? And there's more emphasis now than ever on technology. And frankly, when you think about it, that can be intimidating. When you consider how fast technology happens and how adept we are and at doing things so quickly, even on a subconscious level, that can make us feel inferior as humans. Have you ever thought about that? Let alone if you're not able to be a whiz with the technology. But the way that it happens so quickly and so efficiently and effectively can make us feel like in our humanness, we are less valuable. But there's something that we have to remember about artificial intelligence, and that is there is no heart in artificial intelligence. It can be a useful tool, but we are the heart. We are the only tool that's irreplaceable. To the left, Beyonce would say. Do think that we are irreplaceable, because that is true. We are the heart of this opportunity and of this time. The spiritual truth is that by the very nature of the struggle, that if we aren't very clear, if we aren't crystal clear, then we may find ourselves grasping outside of ourselves in this time of change and uncertainty, which is the reason why our clarity is so important right now. The external action then becomes an illusion of action. Think about that. When we act externally, it's actually an illusion, because the real action, and the only real action, is what is happening inside ourselves. And as we remember who and what we are, then and only then can we be available for the right action that we would choose. So new life is literally designed inside us every moment. And so this is the time that it's imperative that we be committed to our spiritual practice, to living our truth and integrity, because if we look to the world, there is no room for this conversation in mainstream. Think about it. When you look at CNN or you look at the news, tragedy is presented in the very same way as pop culture news. There's no distinguish. There's no difference. It's all set out in front of us to do with what we will. And if we're not clear, then we can begin to think that we are the same. That we are the same. That's why we have to be clear about the illusion. So as spiritual beings, how is it that we can dwell in this time but not be at the effect, but also, and most importantly, how do we dwell in this time with the consciousness of being the change agents? First of all, we remember this greatest hit, one of my favorites. I tried to embrace my inner child today, and the little asshole bit me. If that's happening for you, then it's time to make the unconscious conscious, as Carl Jung said. There's something going on beneath the surface that we need to be clear about. What's going on with your inner child? Have you spoken with them lately? Do you know? Are you afraid to know? This picture is obviously of the three wise men kneeling at the presence of the Christ child. It's representative in the world that we can be under the illusion of effect of the material world, the gold, frankincense, and myrrh, but only until we remember who we truly are. And at that moment, it is when we have the opportunity to be our most powerful, bowing to the Christ within us that is the love we are. So what is ours to remember? What is the most important thing we can remember right now from A Course in Miracles? It's the very first thing that's in the book. There is no order of difficulty in miracles. One is not harder or bigger than another. They are all the same. All expressions of love are maximal. All expressions of love are maximal. Moses stood before the Red Sea, it parted. Jesus stood before Lazarus, told him to walk, he walked. Jesus rose from the dead. It is possible to live on this earth in a way that in your presence, all wrong is righted. But is that true for you? Is that true for any of us in this room or any of us listening? That literally, by power of our consciousness, it is possible to live on this earth in such a way that in our presence, all wrong is righted. Is that true? Well, of course you know it's true. Think about the times that you've said that person can walk in a room and change the energy. It's not always for the better, but it's true. Of course it's true. So what is it? Well, A Course in Miracles defines light as understanding. Understanding and light being the same thing. And just the same way that when you flip on a light in a dark room, the darkness can no longer exist, in the presence of understanding, there is no room for ignorance. in understanding, there is ignorance. So what is ours to do but to arrive at a deeper understanding of what is going on? To be available for that deeper understanding, that deeper realization, and to hold that focus and that clarity so that in our presence, others have the opportunity to do the same. As we hold the clarity around the reality that as the world is experiencing crucifixion, we must be in charge of our own resurrection. And we've said it in here before. What's the definition of crucifixion but being at the effect of loveless thought? And what is resurrection but simply loveless thoughts becoming love thoughts? When the world is experiencing crucifixion collectively, there is never a more important time to be experiencing resurrection within yourself. The Course in Miracles says you're not perfect or you wouldn't be here, but your mission in this life is to become perfect. Wow. That's something that in most rooms would never be tolerated. Well, perfect doesn't exist. You can't be perfect. But what does it mean when it speaks about perfect? It means being at a place that as a result of our own internal healing, that our alignment and our consciousness with truth with a capital T, that our presence is so powerful that we can overcome the circumstances of illusion and support others in doing the same. And remember, what the ego calls humility, love calls arrogance, and vice versa. Who are you to have the audacity, the humility, to believe that through God, within yourself, there is no limit to what you can become for good, for the world? And remember, to reach a core of love, there is always a ring of fear. Think about in nursery rhymes how in the core castle there was always a moat, and a lot of times around that moat there were dragons. What are those dragons but reptilian thoughts of fear, of negativity? So to get to the love, we first have to fight those dragons, which we know fighting means release those dragons. There is no fight. There is simply releasing, turning the light on in a dark room. Through a deeper understanding, there is no place for spiritual ignorance. And think about crabs in boiling water. You know sometimes how one will start to climb out and the others will pull it down? If you see someone shining, rising, having the audacity, it's our work to show up for them. Support that person. If you can't be that person yet, support that person. The reality is, love brings up everything not like itself. And that's what's happening in this time. All that we're seeing come up, everything that is not love, we're having the opportunity to look at and to consider. And it's our choice what we do with it. We can turn anything into something that works or something that hurts. Through our understanding. But it all depends on how clear we are about what it is that we would choose to experience in the first place. How clear we are about how our victim consciousness can move in the forefront so fast and so insidiously and create a perception around a circumstance such that something hurts for us faster than we ever had the realization that it could work for us. It didn't have to hurt us. It could work for us. It could literally be something we stand on to rise. And rest assured, If we haven't mastered it, it's coming back around. So our work is not only being aware and clear so that we're not at the effect of the illusion, but also being aware and clear so that we're not at the effect of the 3D, the world of form circumstance. Not only the illusion, but also the actual playing out of events and circumstances. We have to be able to perceive those things in a way such that they work for us, that they help us, that we can literally stand on them. Because we're now learning at rapid celestial speed, which has its benefits. Think about how everything is aligning to serve our rapid growth at this time. But if we're not clear and our perceptions are such that we're perceiving in a victim consciousness, then that speeding up is just making things hurt worse. It's just making things harder as the result of the lens through which we're perceiving. But new leaders are emerging, and right now, in this time, new leaders are the ones who can not only perceive their own brilliance, their own ability to let something work for them, but they do that and hold that space for others. Very similarly, I think in times like this, we find ourselves in circumstances where we know on some level that our only assignment is to hold the love vibration in that space. Why else am I here? I don't seem to have any words. Which brings up a really interesting story from this past week, and that is, are you sure you need to be who you think you need to be? In any circumstance. We have so many preconceived notions about what our role is, about what we're here to do, who we're here to be. How often do you need people to know what you've done, how you've served, where you've been, what your title is? Are you sure you need to be who you think you need to be? Is that why we've studied spiritual material for 20 or 30 years? So that we can lead with our title, with our resume, with our accomplishments? Or is it so that we, as our individual selves, can hold the vibration of love as we navigate and hold that space for other people and in rooms in which we find ourselves? To allow that information to make us innocent, childlike warriors of love. Innocent, childlike warriors of love. In innocence, there is no room for guilt. In innocence, there is no room for shame. There is only a place for the humility and the willingness to be available for the new thought. The clarity to perceive in a way events of our lives that enable those events to work for us. So, many of you all have probably heard I don't know that it's an actual story, but you know that it could happen, right? If you've ever been around a group of kindergartners, you go into a kindergarten classroom and you say, "Where are my singers?" And the hands fly up. And you go into a room full of adults, "Where are my singers?" And in Nashville, maybe 3 people will raise their hand. Right? Knowing full well that about 60 of them can sing. But they've decided that because they can't sing as well as that other person, that they could never have the audacity, right, to throw up their hand. Well, here is the most important part of this talk. Soloists can be shot. We've learned that. Think about Bobby Kennedy. Think about JFK. Think about Martin Luther King. We are now in the realm, in the place, in the time where it is going to take a choir. Who's willing to sing? Who is willing to be clear enough as the result of everything you've learned the past 20 years to sing whether you can sight read or not? Because that's what it boils down to. You know the song that's in your heart to sing. But do you have the audacity to open your mouth? Or do you need a credential or a textbook or a class in order to justify your voice? We can't do this alone. And it takes a choir because they can't take out a choir. The institutions that have held life at bay for years in this world are fighting harder than ever to keep it the way that it was. But they can't sing louder than a choir. They can't. When you see each other willing to step out and be the light, show up for them. And never forget, ever, that as great as any choir ever is, choir practice is always a part of their process. So that's what we do here. We show up every week to choir practice, to remember, to realign, to reset, to refocus, to recharge, and most importantly, to return back into the world. Because our work is here for us, and it's everywhere, and it's all around. And as I'll finish as I started today and say that it is my joy to be here with you, learning, growing, perceiving in such a way that we can create this world together. Here's to choir practice. Namaste.
That was pretty amazing. I'm ready to go to choir practice, Vic. Thank you. Aren't you guys ready to go to choir practice? I know you guys are. That was amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If you guys will say with me now, on that note, our tithes, donations, and love offerings, again, we can't do this without you. We need your love and we need your support, your financial, but also your souls in the seats and your souls at home viewing. And so on that note, if you'll say with me, I'm open to receiving floods of financial abundance with ease so that I may be able to give back even more to the world around me. Thank you.
Thank you, God, for opening our hearts and for all we feel. We carry you say together the prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
We are love, joy, and peace. Anything else we release. We are love, joy, and peace. This is our gift to the world. We are love, joy, and peace. Everything else we release. We are love, joy, and peace. This is our gift to the world. This is our gift to